Booyakasha. Hey guys, what's good? What's happening and what's going on? It's currently what time is it right now? It's 9:43 p.m. Check this shit out. This is crazy. Friggin' 8 degrees Celsius out. It's currently night and it's 8 degrees Celsius out on my birthday, March 15th. Do you know how insane that is? That's like 2020 weather all over again. I remember in 2020 when a friend and I took our bikes out and we went riding. Well, after I went with her to go pick out a bike, and then I went and got my bike from here in my truck, went down there, and we went biking. Meanwhile, I could have just rode my bike down there, but I didn't know what my endurance would be like. Anyway guys, today was Warriors weekend. I'm only going today. I went and I came back. We got some new toys to play with. One that I shouldn't play with because I need to train with the trainer first. The Filipino tomahawks. Yeah, these things are crazy. This is the real deal, and this black handled one is the trainer. And I was messing around with the real one and I tried doing a short grip and I cut my finger. Why? I'll show you with the trainer because I'm a little nervous with the real one. As you can see, every beveled edge on this thing, up top, on the side, and on this bottom, on the live one is sharp. What I tried to do was slide it up and grab it so you can use it for knife edge. But I didn't grab it in time and my finger went up and I caught the blade here, like where my finger's resting right now. And it chopped me because that live one is sharp as shit. So I need to change up my short axe work to work with one of these Filipino tomahawks. Now, the concept behind this is it's a farming tool and a processing tool for processing, like debarking limbs. You can use the bottom to come in and then you put your hand on the top like so, and you can shave bark off of narrow limbs. The front is chopped like that so you can come in and work a piece of rattan to chop it down. And I'm not sure why it's bladed on the top, but it comes in up clutch. If you want to come with a thrust, you can come in with a thrust and cut them. And as you can tell, the pick on the back is blunt, and it's like that on the real one too. So I don't know really too much about what's going on with that. But this one here is not a full tang, as you can tell. It's just a wooden handle. Could be caribou, I don't know. But it's just a wooden handle with a pinned in half tang blade that's made of aluminum. I'll set you guys on face tracking here. The trainer itself, it's like you can come in and you can strike. But what I tried to do was slide it up to come in for the knife strikes. Because with the other tomahawk, the ones that we actually use, the trench hawks here, this is the live unit. My trainer's in the truck. As you can see, this is the business end. This is the business end. But underneath is not the business end. So if you slide this here down to come in for knife, so you can strike, cut, for close range combat, it's perfectly doable. And then when you want to slide up, you just hip it, bring it in, and you're ready for action. You try and do that with the Filipino tomahawk and it doesn't work. The other thing is this is the Filipino tomahawk, this is the other hawk. Look at the handle differences here. Here, I'll grab them both by the edges. Like there's a good, 4 inches of difference on the end. So it changes the combat style because theoretically with this, if somebody comes in with a stick, you can grab it and block the stick, pull the stick aside, check it, smash the face, and then come around and clobber him one. You try and do a dos manos block with the Filipino tomahawk, and you're probably going to lose a finger because you're losing a lot of handle space to grab onto, which is why Datu Hartman prefers these ones over the Filipino hawks for training, because the Filipino hawks, it's a completely different method. So this is the live one here. It's got a full tang. You can see right there, it's full tang, all pinned. This is kind of wood, did he say that was? I think it was not Camagon, it's Bali wood. Same wood as my hardwood sticks here. It's Bali wood, not Bollywood like India's Hollywood. Bali, the wood is called Bali. And yeah, so this one here, same as the trainer, this is sharp under here. And when I slid it up, I caught my finger. I didn't grip fast enough and it caught my finger and it cut me. So I got to come up with a way to use this one here and to be able to go into pencil grip so I can strike with it at close combat without cutting myself. So that's going to take some training with the actual trainer, but here are the two. And you can tell which one's the trainer and which one's the live, because let me tell you, the weight difference is insane. Like this thing here is not top heavy. This thing here, very top heavy. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to print off some more tomahawk mounts for the wall of weapons and put these up. I also bought a trainer knife from the Philippines, but I haven't, it's still in my battle bag. It's in the truck. It's a poured aluminum, a forged aluminum blade that's just about as shiny as this one. Pretty fun stuff, but we did a lot of cool stuff today. Like we put on a tomahawk class, which was pretty dope. Got to teach a bunch of people how to use the trench hawk. And after our 1 hour class was over, I was showing the guy I was working with a bunch of other cool stuff with the tomahawk, when one of the other trainers comes along who is training in something really cool that we did afterwards. And he was like, oh, are you putting on a tomahawk session? And I'm like, what? Oh, I'm like, oh, we just did our tomahawk session. He's like, oh man. He's like, I'm sorry, I missed your class. And I'm like, oh, it wasn't my class. I'm like, I'm a student. I'm not a trainer, I'm a student. And he's like, oh, he goes, well, you were really showing off some skill there. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's because I really enjoy tomahawk and I specialize in it. It's like my favorite. Like some people like knives, some people like swords. I freaking love axes. I've always loved axes. So he's like, well, you should come to my class. And I'm like, oh, what are you teaching? He literally taught a class on how to fight with these things. These things. They're called kukuri knives. Dude, let me tell you, those things are cool. We did some awesome stuff with the kukuri that I was like, holy crap, we could implement that into our knife training for Arnis. Because literally Arnis, I hate to say this, it's a lot of stuff from other martial arts. Because that's exactly what it was. When the Philippines built it back in the day, when Spain occupied the Philippines, the military was overran. The peasants were only given tools for cultivating, which is where tomahawks like this came in, because it wasn't classified as a weapon, because it was meant for cultivating rattan. The pick on the back was for de-weeding the rice fields. This was literally a farming tool. But everybody should know by now, any tool can become a weapon if you swing it hard enough. You know, a rock, a simple rock that you can use to weigh down a tarp can become a weapon if you friggin' whip it hard enough or throw it hard enough. A hammer that you use for daily use is literally a freaking tomahawk if you think about it, like a claw hammer. You have your striking end and you have the claw. What do you have on here? Your striking end and your claw. So if you were in your house and somebody invaded and they had a weapon and you didn't, and you had a hammer nearby, you now have a weapon. If you know how to use a tomahawk, you know how to use a hammer. And if you know how to use a hammer because you're a carpenter, you know how to use a tomahawk, let me tell you. The one guy that was training with us was a carpenter, and his tomahawk skills were like bang on. He was like really good at getting used to it and getting comfortable with it. And even like Datu Hartman, he had a rubber hammer, a carpenter's hammer, rubber carpenter's hammer, looked like a friggin' Craftsman from Canadian Tire, except he's from New York, so we'll say a Power Fist from Harbor Freight. And he was literally using that to do all the blocks, the bring downs, all that shit, and it worked the same. The only difference between a tomahawk and a hammer is a hammer is going to cause blunt force trauma, a tomahawk's going to split their wig, you know? So we did that. And then we did that kukuri training, which was nuts. Like, I think it's Brazilian. I think that's what he said. I wanted to film some of it, guys, but the problem is because of how warm it is right now. Today it was 17 degrees Celsius out. On my birthday, like, thank you for the best birthday present ever, Mother Nature, 17 degrees. I didn't wear a jacket. I had nowhere to put my cell phone. I had nowhere to put anything, so I couldn't film anything. I literally just left my phone in the truck, put my wallet in my pocket, trained with my wallet in my pocket in case people were setting up shop there and were selling things like weapons or whatever, but nobody was selling weapons, which is a shame, because if Buddy was selling those kukuris, I was going to jump on it and buy one of the lives and the trainers. But I found the trainer online. It's from Cold Steel. It's 48 bucks. I'm gonna hook myself up with one of those, and I'm probably gonna buy the live unit too, because you'd never buy the trainer without buying the live. And that's why when I told PG Craig when he was in the Philippines, I'm like, I want a live version of the Tomahawk and a trainer. And he's like, okay, no problem. And then when he brought back the trainer knives, he goes, I don't have a live version of it. I said, dude, a knife is a knife is a knife is a knife. Like, the trainer knife I have is no different than this unboxing knife right here, except for this flips out. But the blade length, the handle, it's all the same. It's all the same movements for your cutting and your striking. The Tomahawk was just unique because of the blade design. So it's like, I wanted both. I wanted the trainer because we don't use the actual Filipino Tomahawk. I basically want to start looking at some short axe training on YouTube. I found a bunch of tutorials on it for short axe training. I'm going to do it with the Filipino Tomahawk, but I'm also going to migrate it to hatchets. So you can go to like Dollarama, spend $4, buy a hatchet, and be proficient in using it for processing wood or self-defense if needed. Just saying. That's what I want to do. That's one thing I want to work on. To make a trainer, I'm probably going to pour an aluminum axe head, put it on a hatchet handle, and then play with that so I don't, you know, take my kneecaps off and stuff while I'm training. But yeah, we did the kuri training, and then, oh, what else was there? We did did a demo of sticks. We did some Sinawali's and some block check counters and stuff like that. And then I helped out one of the gurus, Jeremy. We were doing stick fighting with kids. Like, these kids range from like 6 to 10 years old. So let's give them some padded sticks and let them beat the shit out of each other. Talk about a good freaking time, boys. Like, we just literally, we showed them point sparring. So the way point sparring works, if you've ever done karate and went to a karate tournament, point sparring is you're both on the line, you go, and the first one to strike, they call it off. They're like, hit. But if you go into a true point sparring, it's every time you connect with your opponent, it's a hit. And if you score a knockdown, it's 10 points. So every hit's a point, a knockdown's a 10-pointer. If you watch Karate Kid, that's literally it. That's literally how the point system works in karate. In modern Arnis stick fighting, there's really no knockouts because you would really have to whip that stick hard enough to penetrate the headgear to actually KO somebody and knock them down. It's impossible with a padded stick. With a wooden stick, yeah, you could probably mess someone's day up and KO them, but with a padded stick, it would never happen. So we taught the kids point sparring, and we just gave them the basics of hand hunting, because the best way to score points in stick fighting, don't go for the hits on the body or the head. Wait for them to strike, block it, and then slap their hand. Put it aside. They're coming in with a number 1, you come in with a number 1, go right through, and then clap their hand with a number, or you come in with a number 1, and you clap their hand with a number 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Or if you can, go for a 1, 7. So you come in, boom, and your hand's already down here, and then you swing it back up and you clobber their hand. Stuff like that. So we're teaching the kids this, and let me tell you, the kids were just off their rockers. They were just wildly swinging. So it's like, it was non-stop, babies. Like, whoa, guys, that's not the drill. Go over and discipline them, right? That's not the drill. Here's the drill. You're gonna hit this one first. So I want you to give a number 1. So they give a number 1. And then the moment it is blocked, come in with number 2 and try and aim for their wrist. And then they're gonna do it back to you, and back and forth, and back and forth. You get them in motion. As soon as you turn your freaking back on them, they're back to pillow fighting with the sticks, just beating the shit out of each other, eh? Oh my God, it was so crazy. I was like, Jesus, Murphy, that's rough. And then afterwards, one of the other senseis that was there, he wanted to put on a training event for the kids because, as you know, child abductions is really on the rise here in Canada. Is it abductions the word I should be using for? Trafficking, maybe? I don't know. But human trafficking is on the rise up here in Canada. It's bad, especially in this freaking town for some reason. I don't know why. But one of the courses that he taught was to kids. And Jeremy knew the course because he taught it to Craig's kids. But he wasn't feeling well and he had to go home. He think he had something bad for lunch. So he asked Jeremy, he's like, hey man, do you mind showing this course to the kids from 2 to 3? And he's like, yeah, sure. So Jeremy came came over to me. He's like, hey man, you want to help me out again? You did great with the kids last time and they seem to like you. And I don't know why they like me, but all right, probably because of the stupid hairdo. And I was like, yeah, man, I'll help out. What's going on? He's like, he goes, literally, it's a skill set kids should know to be basically how to protect themselves from an abduction. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of actually interested in this. This is something like I'm interested in knowing about, because I know I have a lot of friends with kids. Like last year we went to that the Bay Block party here, and I was going, what was I doing? I was going to get something. I was going to get tickets for beers for myself, for Amy Lee, and a few others, because they just, I can't remember why I was going. It was either that or I was going to get something. And Amy Lee's daughter was like, she's like 10 years old. She's like, oh, can I come with you? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I said, but hold on to my hand and stick with me. Don't run away from me, stay with me. And there was a couple of individuals on the sidewalk that were eyeing up the child in a way that kind of made me nervous. Like, am I gonna have to scrap here? Am I gonna have to like really take some people down here? Like, is this, the way they were looking at her was like she was a target. We get into this course with the kids and Jeremy explains it. And honestly, this is something that should be taught in school to kids, especially this day and age. I don't know what it's like in the US. I know I got a lot of US viewers. Guys, what's trafficking like down there? What's child abduction like down there? Is it bad? I know it's bad up here. It's very, very freaking bad. Between children being abducted and teenagers being abducted, it's insane how many times I see things posted on Facebook of like some female, never male. I never see little boys or teen boys being abducted. I always see females being abducted. And 70% of them are indigenous. Okay, so I don't know what the US has for indigenous. I'm sure you guys have an indigenous culture down there. Like, holy crap, this whole friggin' continent was indigenous. I'm sure you guys got reservations down there and all that. But yeah, it's trafficking's crazy up here. So the way it works, and it's kind of basically you start off and like Jeremy would be like, okay, Adam, just go pick a random kid, grab him by the hand and start pulling them along. And what you're going to instruct them to do is like, I go over and I grab the kid and I'm like, hey, come with me. And I start pulling them along. Well, they're going to resist because they don't know who the hell I am, right? Stranger danger. That's what they should be doing. When they realize they can't resist, the next move is fall to the ground on your back, bring your feet up and then angle your feet like this and just start kicking the knees. Just drive those 2 feet into the knees. And the reason why you want them sideways is because you got more surface area to smash the knees. If you keep it like this, you might slip off the leg and not do enough damage. And while you're doing that, you yell, let me go, let me go, let me go. Parents, I'm telling you, if you were in a park and you saw a kid do this, wouldn't you react at just that part there? Not the part that comes next, just that part there. I know I would be like, what the hell's going on? And I would approach the situation and be like, is everything okay here? What the hell's going on? And I know I could just look at the kid and get the reaction that they're terrified and realize, okay, this guy's a problem. We got to neutralize this threat. And then it's go time, right? So yeah, you tell the kid feet sideways and just start on their back, driving it in. And then if they go to reach down to pull the kid in, what the kid's supposed to do is literally wrap themselves around the bottom of the leg, like hug that knee as hard as possible and crisscross applesauce around the ankle of the adult's leg and hang on for dear life and then start screaming, you are not my parent. This is not my parent. This is not my parent. Because that's like red alert. Anybody, any adult in the area is going to hear that and go, okay, something's not right here. Investigate. Any right person is going to investigate. There's going to be some people who don't want to interfere because that's just their way, but there's always people who are going to be like, something's not right. Let's go check this shit out. Now, if you're on the ground kicking your feet and the abductor grabs your foot and goes to pull you in, what you do is you crisscross applesauce around one leg with your legs, and then you literally wrap your arms around the other leg as hard as possible and start screaming that one-liner of, this is not my parent. Let me tell you, I can deadlift 365 pounds. No problem for 8 reps. When the child locked in those grips on me, I couldn't pick that kid off the ground. I couldn't pick that kid off of me. I couldn't move because they got me tied up with their legs on one, like a crisscross applesauce. Yeah, you know, a 6-year-old kid, not exactly a a heavy unit, you know, maybe what, 40, 50 pounds? Unless they're on the McDonald's diet, 70 pounds. But still, they're not exactly a heavyweight champion of the world. But when they lock that in and they get that technique down to a science, and they all did, well, all the ones I had anyway, I couldn't reach down and grab them and pick them off of me. I couldn't move my legs because it was like I was like tied at the feet. I'm basically immobilized now with this kid on me. It's such a good strat. Like, I was like, holy shit, this is freaking brilliant. Why aren't they teaching this in school? This is grade 1 material. The kid's 6 years old. This should be taught in phys ed. How to avoid being abducted by some asshole. It's amazing. So yeah, I helped Jeremy with training that one too. It was a good time. I had a good time. Like I said, I wish I could have got some footage. Obviously I couldn't have filmed the kid thing if I did get footage, because I just wouldn't have felt comfortable putting random children on YouTube. Because of, number one, YouTube's policy of putting random children on YouTube, and number two, that's a privacy concern. And I'm kind of liking the idea of not focusing the videos on stuff like that. Like, there was a lot of people at this martial arts event. Filming it might have made them upset. Like Chris, my coach, said, he's like, you know, you filmed the southern camp and you filmed the northern camp. He's like, you really shouldn't be putting that stuff on YouTube because you're not a certified instructor. It's not your material. And I'm like, I'm sorry about that. Like, I won't do it anymore. And that's why, like, I asked him about, do you think it'd be a big deal if I filmed today? And he's like, you know what I told you? He's like, you probably shouldn't. You probably should. He's like, the instructors that are going to be teaching probably will have film crews that filming their stuff for their own social media. He's like, but you're there to learn. Leave the cameras at home. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I said, I need to learn anyway. I need more skill sets. But yeah, all in all, it was good. But tomorrow, there's nothing really that interests me that's going on, so I'm probably just not going to bother going. It was $100 for the weekend or $50 a day, so I paid my 50 today. It was $30 for the for the dinner tonight, which was a buffet put on by the Best Western. I've had their buffet. It's not too bad, but at the same time, I'm trying to stick to this carnivore, and chances are they're only offering one type of meat. So if I just, like, you know, if it's like roast beef and I just grab a plate of roast beef, people are gonna be like, dude, you know there's other stuff there, right? And trying to explain, like, you know, I don't eat that, I just eat this. At $30 for a bunch of roast beef, I would really have to eat my fair share of roast beef. So instead of, I came home, I went to Independent Grocers and I bought a rotisserie chicken, and I had that for supper. The whole chicken. I just ate it like a caveman. I figured, why not? And yeah, was supposed to go out tonight, but honestly, I am kind of tuckered out. I'm kind of wasted after today. We did a lot of stuff today, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of awesome stuff. The reason, like I said, I don't want to go tomorrow because it's literally all empty hand stuff that I just don't care about. And it's only from 9 till noon. Everybody's going to bounce at noon tomorrow. A lot of them have to travel out of town. Some of them out of province, and a few out of country. We had a few. We had one guy from the U.S. Datu Tim Hartman. He's from New York, Seneca, New York, I should say. We had one guy from the Dominican Republic who flew in. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist. I've never been a fan of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I did it for a bit with my coach, and I didn't care for it. It's not something I could see being effective in a fight. Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, yes, I could see that being effective in a fight, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is literally the locks. You lock up. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to me is wrestling. It's pretty useless because there's no striking aspects. Where Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, it's like when you get into the guy's guard, if he's resisting, just punch him in the face. Give him a shot to the head. Smash him with your elbow. Drive a knee to his groin. You know, striking is permitted in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. It's the way of the samurai. It's a samurai fighting art. And a lot of the locks can be done standing or in guard or in half guard or in whatever, side guard or whatever the hell it's called. I don't really know all the terms because, like I said, I only did it for like 6 weeks. And then I was like, yeah, this doesn't interest me. So it's not my thing. I mainly like the weapons. I do like Panantukan because we don't have blocks. Our blocks are strikes. Literally, every block is a strike if you think about it. When you go to block a hand, like when you're coming in karate, you're boom, right? You come boom. Well, you're striking the arm. Every block is a strike in some way or another. One person today was like, what's a block? It's a deflection. Well, you're right, but you're wrong. Another person's like, oh, it's a redirection. Well, you're right, but you're wrong. It's a strike. You're physically meeting that force with equal or greater force to stop it dead in its track. Now what Panantukan brings into it is you're meeting that force with equal or greater strength, but you're also attacking a limb to cause it to either be weaker or to completely destroy it so it can no longer be used. That's why Panantukan is banned and modern arnis is frowned upon in the world, because it's not a martial arts that is used for tournament fighting. It can't be used in MMA. It's got way too many illegal moves, and it is literally used to destroy people. And that's what it was built for. It wasn't, the art wasn't designed to be used for artistics like Bushido, swinging a blade around, doing kata, being all cute and friggin' doing all these spinny shit that you're never gonna use in battle unless you get picked up for a Star Wars scene with a lightsaber. Filipino modern arts is literally designed to mess people up. It is the FAFO freaking martial arts. Like, you're using that to basically destroy people. But that kukuri that I showed you, the knife movements, a lot of it was like our stick movements, except for the sticks are longer and our machetes are longer. But he was doing stuff that I was like, holy shit, this is such a cool little weapon. Like, this thing's pretty freaking effective. Of course, we're doing the training. He ran out of trainers. I was a little late to get to the show to start up. He hands me a live blade. Like, here's my coach, black belt in Goju Ryu Karate, black belt in modern arnis, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and a black belt in Taekwondo. And he's got a cold steel trainer, like the one I'm going to buy off Amazon. Here I am, a green belt in modern arnis and a green belt in Shotokan Karate, and he hands me the live trainer. Okay, this makes sense. Perfect. So I had to like really be aware of my surroundings with that thing, because if another student would have stepped in because they overshot their step or something, it would have messed them up. It would have been a bad time. So, but a lot of the moves were a lot like the sticks and a lot like our machete fighting. It was easy to pick up, but then there was some extra stuff like twirling the blade, the different guards, like reverse grip, going from forward grip to reverse grip by flipping the blade. That I was having a hard time picking up to figure out how to get that blade to flip. But then he showed me a trick and I was like, oh, I guess I missed that part. I guess that was in the beginning, because like I friggin' didn't see that. And then everything started clicking and I was able to go through all the nine strikes they have. I don't know, it was a really cool seminar. I really wish I could have filmed some of it, guys, but like I mentioned, coach was like, listen, it's really disrespectful to put other people's material on your channel. And I'm like, you know, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. I said, but I can talk about it afterwards. I can do one of my what I'm doing now, my Payson talks, you know. I can show off what I bought from the Philippines, the tomahawks and all that, show you guys what it is. I wasn't expecting to show you my war wound for me playing around with the live unit, so got a little bit of work to do on my end to figure out how the hell to use that thing properly. And like I said, we don't train with those. We train with the trench hawks. So I'm pretty much on my own for the little baby guy. But there's supposed to be a stick fighting tournament coming up in Coburg at some point, either in April or May. I don't know when. It's a point fighting tournament. We're thinking about going down for it. Now, with all what's going on with Canada and the US and these tariffs, and Trump changed some rules about if you go to US for longer than 30 days, you got to immigrate in, and that could escalate and become, if a Canadian comes into the US for whatever time, they got to immigrate into the country, and fingerprints and all that shit. Like, it's nuts. It's crazy what they're doing. Coach might not be going to Seneca in May, like with all what's going down with the US Canada. It's one of those, we'll wait and see what happens there. But Coburg is literally 4 hours away from here, 5 hours away. Go down there, get a hotel room, go to the stick fighting tournament. It's a point-based system. I might be able to film some of that. I don't know. But I wouldn't mind getting into that, giving that a try, having some fun with that. Just a shame it's so far away. But I got to talk to Greg about that, because he remembers the date and I don't. And I asked Coach, I'm like, do you know when the date is? He's like, no, I forgot. I'll have to look it up. But he's on the edge about not wanting to go. But yeah, could be a good time. Could be a good time. But anyway, guys, I figured I would give you a little showdown. I was supposed to go out and do stuff tonight, but honestly, after a full day of martial arts, I was pretty tuckered out. I came home, just chilled, ate some chicken, and was like, you know, looking at the camera, I'm like, I should pick that thing up and talk to it for a bit and talk about what went down because, and show the tomahawks, because I mentioned them before. Show you how weird the tomahawks are in the Philippines compared to what you might think a tomahawk looks like over here. How different cultures have different styles of weapons, and it's really cool when you see them. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, click that like button. Any questions, comments, concerns, down below they go. And until next time, guys, live it to win it. Peace the frig out. Sit, stupid, sit. Good dog.